Hello, I'm Ignacio Grifol, and I'm here with the independent world champion, AC Mack. Hello, how are you?
Yes, what's up, man? Thank you so much for having me. I'm good. I'm good. I'm on cloud nine right now, so it's all good on my end.
Great. Well, I'm going to start with the first question that I always ask. Can you tell me your first memory about pro wrestling?
Ooh, my first memory. I just remember being in elementary school, and this was like around the Attitude Era, and just being in the hallway and just kind of going around, and so many people were doing the DX crotch chops,
Oh.
and at first I didn't even know what it meant, but that's pretty much the first thing that I remember about wrestling and how that kind of got me introduced to the sport. So yeah, DX.
Well, also, you are from 1992.
Yes, yeah, I was born in 1992. So I started kindergarten around 98, which was the beginning of the Attitude Era. So my elementary school kind of lines up. Yeah. It kind of lines up with the Attitude Era.
Oh, it's kind of weird because I'm from 1991, so you are the first one that is younger than me.
Yep.
Yes.
Hopefully it stays that way. Hopefully I want to be 29 forever.
Yes. Well, when did you decide to become a pro wrestler?
It was actually in 2006. It was the same night as WrestleMania 22. I was in middle school and I had two of my best friends, and we would watch wrestling every month, the pay-per-views every month. And that day we got there super early and decided to do some backyard wrestling in his neighborhood. The longer we went, and the louder we got, the more people came out to just watch us. And I remember getting a nice little crowd, maybe 20, 30 people. And I remember just kind of reacting to them reacting. So if I knew they liked something, I would do that more. Or if they didn't really react to something, we would just kind of throw that away. So it was just a lot of fun to just kind of see what people liked, and from that live performance. And I remember WrestleMania about to start and us trying to go in to watch the show, and I didn't want to stop. So I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun. And then once I looked up how to be a pro wrestler, or what it all entails, and I saw how much they traveled and saw how much money they made, I was sold. Now, I didn't know about the independent scene just yet, but I was just, looking at the bigger picture, and it was just cool to see, and it seemed like the perfect job. So I was like, why not? Let's do that.
Yes.
The goal.
Also, you were trained by Ayer Fox, right?
Right.
And what can you tell me about how it's learned with him?
Yeah, so I started training with AR Fox in 2016, right here in Atlanta. It was a lot of fun, and it was very cool to see, because like a lot of people look at him as just a high flyer, but really he knows every style there is, and he's able to help out with the kind of character that you want to be. He's able to take any idea that you have and pretty much enhance it, and give you great suggestions for it. He's never really said no. He's not going to tell you something doesn't work. He's just going to give you the best tools that he has to make sure that it does. So I appreciated that. He's a throw you in the fire kind of teach you with experience kind of teacher. So it was a lot of fun. I gained a lot and learned a lot. So
Yeah.
I would highly recommend to anybody that wants to be a pro wrestler, train under AR Fox.
Right. And also, you started in 2016. It's pretty close to the COVID pandemic. What can you tell me starting and suddenly stop your career?
Yeah, everything got taken away. I'll be honest with you, I was kind of in denial at first. Not saying that it wasn't real or anything like that, but I just didn't think it was going to end up being as big of a deal as it was. Yeah. So it wasn't until maybe March of 2020 when we were at a show in Nashville, and I think they sent over the orders for the whole city to shut everything down immediately. So we're in the middle of a show, and we have cops coming in trying to shut the show down. And we had the promoters begging them, like, just let us finish. We have one more match left. Like, we'll get out immediately, but we're already here. So that was my first time seeing it. And it was happening in real time, just the immediate shutdown. You're right. A lot of dates got taken away from us. A lot of different opportunities. I was really hot then at the end of 2019. So I was really, really looking forward to that year's Mania week and really getting my name out there. And all of it was gone. And we had to pretty much kind of sit around and wait. So for a lot of wrestlers, it got pretty dark because you know, a lot of people use it as an escape, or, you know, it's the best thing that, you know, they love this the most in their lives. And, you know, it was just taken away immediately, and we just didn't believe it. So it hurt. It hurt that. And I don't think many promotions came back until maybe the fall of that year, just trying to see what would work, limited capacity, things like that. So that spring and that summer, it was pretty rough.
Yes, you're right. Also, in 2018, I think you had a match on NXT against Dijakovic.
Yes.
What can you tell me about your match?
Yeah, it was. I applied to go, or I reached out, you know, to whoever you need to reach out to for that to happen. And I went down thinking that I was just going to pretty much be a backstage hand, just getting coffee or getting whatever anybody needed. But when I got there, they told me that I was going to have a match. So at 1 p.m. that day, I was informed of that. I was super, super nervous the whole day because the tapings didn't start until 7. And on top of that, our match wasn't even for the 3rd episode. So it was, you even had to still wait till after 7. So just nervous all day. I met Dijak early on. He was very, very nice, gave me the tour of the place, told me who I needed to speak to and rub elbows with. So I really, really appreciate him. And Norman Smiley was our agent. And so he helped us with, especially me, just with the selling towards which camera and all that. But once it got closer to it, though, like the nerves kind of went away. I don't know what it was, but I guess just being there and just seeing all the lights and the dope setup, and just it went from me being like nervous and scared to like, let me get out here and let me do this. Let's have this, you know. They let me have a whole entrance. They made like a real quick Titantron video for me. I just thought it was cool. I felt, you know, at that moment in time, that was my biggest moment. I felt like I belonged. I was able to, you know, change in the same locker room. I was able to see and meet people like Adam Cole and Fireman, who's a referee. He was trained at the A4 too. Yeah, it was just really cool. I got to meet Triple H, who's one of my idols. I love Triple H to death. One of my top 5 favorites of all time. It was just cool to see. It was just really cool to be able to see how everything runs, excuse me. Yeah, I enjoyed it 100%. Rhea Ripley showed me where the taco trucks were. Like, it was great. It was great. I'm really, really glad I was able to do that.
I usually hear a common phrase that a pro wrestling always has to bring the wrestling gear with him.
Yes. And I had my gear, yes, but my gear had my name all over it. I didn't have like basic black gear. And usually that's what they try to have the extras in. And I kept asking, I said, are you sure this is okay? Because my name is on it and all this and that. But they were like, yeah, it's fine. I brought my gear, but I definitely didn't think I was going to be wrestling.
And what do you think about the new NXT, the NXT 2.0?
I'm optimistic about it. I'm interested to see where they go with it. I do watch it every week, and it's interesting the change that has happened. You know, they're focusing more on characters now. And it's a completely different overhaul. It's all new talent. The talent's a lot younger. So I'm looking forward to it. The last time we had something like this, it was very similar to like FCW, and before that was OVW with that legendary class that we always talk about. So, you know, I'm optimistic to see what comes of it. I have a few favorites like Wendy Chu. She's hilarious to me, but Yeah, I watch it. I know they get a lot of flack online, but I see what they're trying to do, and I think we have to allow time for it to grow into them molding new stars, which is always good. So
Yes.
optimistic, that's the word.
As one question, what the AC stands for?
So my full first name is Amin Ra,
Like
and
the
my
boss.
middle name is Cordell, spelled with the C. And so I just kind of shortened it, and I formatted it that way because AJ Styles is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Yes.
So AJ Styles, AC Mack, it just so happened to be trained by AR Fox. So it just kind of all worked out, and I was like, oh, that works. So we'll run with that.
That's pretty badass to be named like a Egyptian god.
Yeah. So I that's where that came from. I love AJ Styles.
Yes. Also, I want to talk about your young career because you had a very important title, the action title, and you held for nearly 18 days.
Yes.
What can you tell me about your title reign?
Yeah, it was very interesting. It was we held it for almost 800 days, and I was able to help. At the time, I didn't think I was doing this, but in hindsight, looking back and talking with Matt, we were helping elevate the exposure for action because I held it for a while, but at the same time, I was able to go to other shows on IWTV, other states with that action championship and perform in front of people who may have never heard of action before. And because of the match, because of the character, and because of the story, they were able to go on IWTV and see what action had to bring to the table. So I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of going to DC, Massachusetts, Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee, all these other places, and say, hey, we have something special going on down here in the South, and it's called action wrestling. So that's what I'm most proud of for having the championship. The most difficult thing about having it for so long was just trying to keep things to be fresh. I wanted people to stay in tuned and stay interested in what I was doing on the show. So having good opponents, obviously, having compelling stories. I had to go from a baby face to a heel. I mean, excuse me, the other way around, from a heel to a baby face, to just kind of switch things up a little bit. But yeah, that was probably the biggest challenge of it. But for the most part, I think we did a very damn good job, and I'm proud of that reign.
Nice. Also, watching your match, you have a very unique finisher. Like it's like a pedigree, but your arms twisted.
Yeah.
How did you get to that idea?
So
what a common pedigree wasn't good enough.
Well, not that it wasn't good enough, but I wanted to honor the pedigree because, like I said, Triple H is one of my favorites. But I also wanted to put my own spin on it. I wanted, like, you'll obviously know it's a pedigree, but when you see it, I want you to think AC Mack, One day in training, after all the drills, me and Austin Theory, actually, who's in the WWE now, we were just kind of playing around in the ring, and I was about to debut in the school show. And he said, you need a finish. You got anything in mind? And at the time, all I knew was that I wanted to honor the pedigree. That's all I knew. So we started playing around with a bunch of different variations and maybe both sides on this way. And we finally settled on crossing my arms. And there was another wrestler that was walking by and was like, oh, if that's your finish, you should call it the Mack 10. And I was like, wow, that makes sense because it's a, Mack 10, obviously my name, the number 10. I'm crossing my arms like an X as I'm doing the move, and that's the Roman numeral for 10. So everything was like lining up, and I was like, you can't ignore it. You can't ignore that. So that's how that came about. And I love that I'm able to say that I came up with the move with one of my best friends who's extremely successful now.
Yeah.
So
Yes. A few years ago, I saw a gif, a reversed pedigree that the opponent was not facing the canvas, but the ceiling. And it was really awkward because I think it was Alex Selly who performed it, and it was awkward because, of course, the pedigree you have to put your balls on the face of the opponent.
yeah.
So it was like really strange.
Oh no, I didn't see that. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yes, I'm gonna send you if I found in my computer.
Please.
Yes. Also, talking about Alex Shelley, you recently faced him and defeated for the Independent World Championship. What can you tell me about wrestling with one of the greatest?
Well, he definitely is one of the greatest. That's
Mm,
for sure. I always knew he was good beforehand, just by watching him. But being in the ring and seeing
mm,
how he worked with me, how patient he was with me, and just how we were able to create so much magic, I definitely give all praise to him. He's an immensely great wrestler. Holy crap! But that whole day was wild. That whole week was wild for me
mm,
because I knew the match was coming up and I was extremely nervous. I was freaking out a whole lot. And I didn't realize until that Wednesday the history that we were going to be making
mm,
once the match was over. So just finding that out kind of put even more weight on my shoulders, more responsibility in my head, you know. So I felt overwhelmed in the best
mm.
way possible, but like just really overwhelmed because I'm representing three different communities: the South,
Yes.
African Americans, and LGBT. And I just wanted to make each one proud separately for all different reasons. So it was a lot. It was a lot. But the day of, Alex Shelley flew in, and I was able to actually pick him up from the airport, and we drove to the venue together.
Mm,
And being able to meet him for the first time and talk to him and just kind of pick his brain a little bit, that put me at ease, feeling more comfortable with him. So
mm.
we were able to get there and put the match together comfortably without any issues. So yeah, everything just fell into place in the best way possible on
Mhm.
that day.
Yes.
Um, we had the live show, and my phone has been going off ever since. So,
Mhm.
letting me know we did something right. And then the speech afterwards, I had no idea that it was going to get that much coverage. They gave me a few bullet points, and I just kind of went with that. And
Mhm.
uh, I don't know, the best stuff is when you put a little bit of truth in it. So I think
Yes.
that's what that magic touch was. And I use the word magic a lot, but yeah, that entire segment, that entire match, that entire day was
Mhm.
magical. So I'm really glad it happened. Easily,
Mhm.
easily the biggest moment in my career.
Yeah. Also, you won the independent title. What do you think about Pro Wrestling Illustrated recognize the title as a world title because they work across boundaries and companies?
Yes, yes, all boundaries, all companies, it's all encompassing,
Mm,
So when they group you in these things, you're like on the same list as Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, and
mm,
Adam Page. It's weird. It's weird because I still see myself as like the 16-year-old fan who just loves wrestling,
mm,
but now I'm more of a peer. It's a legit, recognized and sanctioned world
mm,
championship. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. It
mm.
still doesn't feel real,
Yeah.
but it's really cool to see. It's really cool to see those lists. It's really cool to get the coverage from all
Mm,
over the world.
mm,
Got a lot of magazines from the UK hitting me up, and we're gonna do some things later. Um, a lot of different promotions hitting me up to for bookings, and we've got a great story here. And
mm.
just
Yeah.
being a world champion in the midst of this entire storm is just
Mm.
it's incredible. It's a I see it as like a reward for having everything taken away from me during the pandemic. So this is like them saying, "Oh, okay, here you go. Sorry."
Yeah. Yes. Also, you tell me that at the beginning of your career, you didn't know about the independence circuit
You
because
know,
it suffered like a great boom because before it was Ring of Honor and not much else. But what can you tell me about the growth of the independent circuit?
yeah, it's crazy. When I started, all I knew about was TNA and ROH,
Hmm.
and being under Fox, and we would travel with him a lot to his shows. And that's kind of how I figured out what the indies were and just kind of opened up to this whole new world that I didn't even know existed.
Hmm.
It's grown so much in the fact that it's more inclusive now. We're getting a lot more minority talents, a lot more shows focused towards minorities, LGBT talent. We're getting way more of that. In 2016, when I started, I didn't even know, other gay wrestlers. It wasn't something that you could be out about and proud about. But now it's incredible the boom that we've had in both communities within just the past 2 to 3 years. So that's how much growth I've seen. Twitter and just the internet as a whole has allowed people to gain exposure and the fans to be able to reach anybody at their fingertips. You don't have to look for tapes anymore. You can just search somebody's name. You can find their highlight reel. You can follow them on Twitter or Instagram and see all their work and see what they bring to the table. It's just really cool. That's the change that I've seen in just 6 years alone.
Yes. Also, I'm gonna ask you about Gainshare Wrestling, because I have seen that you wear the hood, right, of Gainshare Wrestling. What can you tell me about Gainshare Wrestling and the collective and Effie's big gay branch?
Yeah, it's so fun. It's so fun. It's so fun because it's a bunch of different shows that they all come together for the biggest week in wrestling. So it's always a good time. Everybody's usually in a good mood. And they bring in some of the best talent on the indie scene, nationwide. So it's just great match after great match after great match after great match. And I like that every show has its own theme. So, and they highlight different styles of wrestling. So, you have your deathmatch wrestlers. They have shows for them. You'll have your technical wrestlers. They have shows for them. You have shows for African American, shows for LGBT. It's just in any type of wrestler that you are, you have a home at the collective. So I think that's pretty dope. I think that's very, very important that it stays around and then it grows, because wrestling is only growing and it's only getting more diverse. So I think we're going to have a lot more festivals, I guess I should call them, like the collective, just because of the sheer talent that we have and the diversity that we have. So,
yes. Also, as you say, you are part of the LGBT community, and you are named as the first openly gay world champion. What can you tell me about this big achievement?
And I didn't find that out until Wednesday, right before the match. And like I was saying earlier, it just made me even more nervous, because now it's like it's not just a big moment. It's not just a big moment for the South. It's not just a big moment because it's me. It's a big moment now because we're making history. This has never been done in all of pro wrestling. So it was a big deal. It was a big deal, and it still is a big deal, because like that's not something that you can take away. That's history right there. I'm in the books. So it's just really cool to say. It's really cool to hold that responsibility. The amount of support and feedback that I've gotten from the LGBT community has been insane. We've all got together and said, okay, we support you. This is who we are. We made it. We got some progress to make, but we here now. We here, and that was the whole point. So I'm happy. I'm extremely happy.
Okay, well, here talking about the other minority that you represent, the African American. Recently, All Elite Wrestling had an issue because Big Swole left the company, and she complained about the lack of representation. Appear several people like Captain Dean or Powerhouse Cops, and Tony Khan says that he's working on it. What can you think about this issue?
What can I tell you about the decision?
Or the subject. I mean, do you think that All Elite Wrestling has a good representation, or he can improve?
I think both, honestly. And like I was saying earlier, there's always room for improvement. Not just with myself, not just with the landscape of the indies, but with everybody. WWE, AEW, they do have a number of Black talent, a number of minority talent, which we're all happy for. And I think the tension comes from just the community wanting to see more. And it's okay. I think we'll get there. I think we'll get more just on each side. Just got to be patient. So yes, just to answer your question, I think that there is representation. There is good representation, and there's always room for improvement. So I think we need to calm down.
Yes.
And it just, if everybody continues to work hard, if everybody continues to shine, inevitably something will come from it, I believe. So
Yes.
I'm excited to see where we go.
Nice. Also, there is the other controversial question. Okay,
Yeah.
you can say no. You are African American. You are part of the LGBT community. What do you think about Dave Chappelle comments about the minorities?
Yeah, that's a rough one, and it's kind of torn about it because Dave Chappelle is one of my favorite comedians of all time. I don't think that he meant any hatred behind it. I did watch the special. I don't think he was being malicious. But there's something said about delivery, and there's something said about how delicate you are, even as a comedian. So, while I don't think he meant harm, there is a way to what am I trying to say?
To express.
Yeah, there's a way to express it in a more delicate manner, to where you're adhering to the problems and the sensitivities of our community. So I get it. I get it. I get this. It's just like the AEW situation. It's tension, and I think we should just all relax and just kind of hear each other out. But yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
I told you that was the hard one.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry. No more controversial questions. One moment. What are the questions? Oh, okay. Well, what can you tell me about what's next for AC Mack?
Well, what's next for AC Mack? I'm going to be defending this world championship to all comers. I want to be a fighting champion. I want as many contenders to come at me as possible. I just need them to know, if you're going to be challenging for this world championship, you will meet me in the South. I'm not going to the West Coast to defend the title. I'm not going up north to defend the title. It will be in the South. And because of that, I feel what's next within the next few months and seasons, we're going to see more exposure being brought to the South. Here in America, the indie scene is pretty much dominated by that Northeast scene. And the South has been booming for so long with so much talent that I think it's about time they share some of that wealth, some of that attention. So that's what I'm going to do. That's my main focus. I want to bring some of that attention to where IWTV is also giving an equal share of their shows down south. So that's what's next for me.
That's nice. Yeah. Also, as you know, Ring of Honor, one of the greatest promotion in the circuit, is on a hiatus until April. What do you think about the new Ring of Honor?
I'm optimistic. I definitely, I don't know much about the new Ring of Honor or what's going on with the situation, but Ring of Honor has been around almost as long as I've known what pro wrestling was. So I hope that we can get things together, and I hope that they can come back stronger than ever, because at this point you need Ring of Honor. It can't go away. The history is too deep. The history is too rich. Too many great professional wrestlers, too many great grapplers have come out of Ring of Honor. So I just want the best for it. Yeah.
I imagine that the answer is yes, but would you like to sing with All Elite, Impact, or WWE?
I'm open to it all. I don't have a preference. I want to be able to provide for myself and my future family, doing the one thing that I love. And I would like for it to be on TV, to where the most exposure is possible, and they can see AC Mack and all of his glory and the character and the pageantry and all that. So whoever's willing to do that for me and meet me on my end, I'm excited for that. I don't have a preference.
Great. And do you know that in Spain we have wrestling? Would you like to come here and have a few matches?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Would you like to come here to Spain to wrestle?
Yes. Yes. If Spain will have me, I'm down. Yes. I would love to. I've never wrestled outside of the country, not yet. So I would very much be open to that. Yes.
Great. Well, that's the whole interview. I have no more questions.
All right.
Can you say just one thing? Can you say something to your fans in Spain or and the Solo Wrestling readers?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much. We're a world champion now, so you're gonna see more of me. Just thank you for being a supporter. My matches are on IWTV for the most part. I have some stuff on YouTube. You can follow me at AC Mack, and that's anywhere: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, PSN, Pro Wrestling Tees, whatamaneuver.net for any merch. Yeah, I just thank you. You know, I'm a little kid, that really scrawny kid who didn't think that any of this was possible. So I'm just on cloud nine, and I know I have the fans to thank for that. And I know that they're in Spain too, so that's even crazier.